The stage, the scramble for Africa. Industrialization stirred ambitions in many European nations. They wanted more resources to fuel their industrial production. They competed for new markets for their goods. Many nations looked to Africa as a source of raw materials and as a market for industrial products. As a result, colonial powers seized vast areas of Africa during the 19th and early 20th centuries. The seizure of the country or territory by a stronger country was called imperialism. As occurred throughout most of Africa, stronger countries dominated the political, economic, and social life of weaker countries. Imperialism is one of those vocabulary words you need to write down. So do that one. Africa before European domination.
That was a good time.
In the mid-1800s, on the eve of the European domination of Africa, African people were divided into hundreds of ethnic and linguistic groups. Most continued to follow traditional beliefs, while others converted to Islam or Christianity. These groups spoke more than 1,000 different languages. Politically, they ranged from large empires that united many of the ethnic groups to independent villages. Europeans had established contacts with sub-Saharan Africans as early as the 1450s. However, powerful African armies were able to keep the Europeans out of most of Africa for 400 years. In fact, as the late 1800s, Europeans controlled only 10% of the continent's land, mainly on the coast. Furthermore, European travel into the interior on the large-scale basis was virtually impossible. Europeans could not navigate African rivers, which had many rapids, cataracts. That's not cataracts.
Those are fun.
Cataract? I don't know. And changing flows. The introduction of steam-powered riverboats in the early 1800s allowed Europeans to conduct major expeditions into the interior of Africa. Disease also discouraged European exploration. Finally, Africans controlled their own trade networks and provided the trade items. These networks were specialized. The Kokwe, for example, devoted themselves to collecting ivory and beeswax in the Angolan highlands. Nations compete for overseas empires. These Europeans who did not penetrate the interior of Africa were explorers, missionaries, and humanitarians who opposed the European and American slave trade. Europeans and Americans learned about Africa through the travel books and newspapers. These publications competed for readers by hiring reporters to search the globe for stories of adventure, mystery, and excitement. The Congo sparks interest. In the late 1860s, David Livingstone, a missionary from Scotland, traveled with a group of Africans deep into Central Africa to promote Christianity. When several years passed with no word from him or his party, many people feared he was dead. An American newspaper hired reporter Henry Stanley to find Livingstone. In 1871, he found Dr. Livingstone on the shores of Lake Tanganyika. Stanley's famous greeting, "Dr. Livingstone, I presume," made headlines around the world. Stanley set out to explore Africa himself and trace the course of the Congo River. His explorations sparked the interest of King Leopold II of Belgium, who commissioned Stanley to help him obtain land in the Congo. Between 1879 and 1882, Stanley signed the treaties with local chiefs on the Congo River Valley. The treaties gave King Leopold II of Belgium control of these lands. Leopold claimed that his primary motive in establishing the colony was to abolish the slave trade and promote Christianity. However, he licensed the companies that brutally exploited Africans by forcing them to collect sap from rubber plants. At least 10 million Congolese died due to the abuses inflicted during Leopold's rule. As a result of his cruelty, humanitarians around the world demanded changes. In 1908, the Belgian government took control of the colony away from Leopold. The Belgian Congo, as the colony later became known, was 80 times larger than Belgium. The Belgian government's seizure of the Congo alarmed France. Earlier in 1882, the French had approved a treaty that gave France the north bank of the Congo River. Soon, Britain, Germany, Italy, Portugal, and Spain were also claiming parts of Africa.